You're listening to Financial Sense, Arizona's financial podcast that answers your real questions about money in your business and in your life. Recorded at and brought to you by National Bank of Arizona, the only bank you need. Hello, I'm John Lewis, Senior Vice President and Regional Manager of Business Banking at National Bank of Arizona. I'm your guest host today. Thank you for joining us. On this episode of Financial Sense, we have Zach Wagner, Senior Vice President of Treasury Management here at the bank. Welcome, Zach.
Pleasure to be here, John.
On this podcast, we like to give people insight they can only get from a friend of the business. Today, Zach's going to give us some of his tips and tools that he's learned over the years to help businesses manage their cash flow effectively.
Yeah, looking forward to our conversation, John.
So, Zach, why don't you take it away and tell us what cash flow is and just the basic principles when it comes to small business?
Sure. I mean, in its simplest form, cash flow is money in and money out for the business. Now, the cash flow cycle of that is going to determine the business's solvency. And even just as important or integral is the management of those cash flows, the money in and money out, and making sure our clients are in tune with how those flows are challenging their business day in and day out.
So what are some of the cash flow techniques that small businesses can utilize?
You know, when thinking about the techniques when it comes to cash flow, it almost makes me think of some questions that we'd want to ask our business clients. How do the customers pay our business clients? How are our business clients paying their customers, and what ways are they doing that? And then how are they managing it? What are they using day to day to interact and see the cash flow, both the ins and outs for their business, and managing that cash flow internally?
When do cash flow problems arise, and how can a small business help control cash flow?
Sure. When you think of our small business clients, they have to wear so many hats, right? They don't have the luxury of having a CEO, a CFO, a treasurer, right, et cetera, et cetera. They're all these jobs and then some, right? They're in the front line talking to their clients as well. So segregation of duties is just almost impossible for them. And they have to take on all those tasks. So they may have days where they don't get to manage the business the way they want to, but it's so important to see that day-to-day interaction of what is going on to see, again, the simplest forms. How do you streamline that money in, streamline the money out? Is that imperative to their success? And yes, 100% it is, right? So I think that underlying factor too, even disregarding the money in and money out aspect, is fraud prevention as well. Are our clients even considering the potential fraud that could be impacting their accounts if they aren't able to manage it day to day? And that's where we, as both the relationship manager, treasury management partner, can come into play and make sure we help and give that advice and try to provide solutions to assist our small business clients.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I've had the chance to work with a lot of small businesses over the years, and they have a lot on their plates. And sometimes they might just not know the exact tools that are out there to be able to leverage. And I think that's where it becomes important to have that conversation with a small business owner and their banker to say, hey, this is what's going on in my business. This is how I receive my cash flow. This is how I pay my payables. And is there options to be able to make that a smoother, more efficient process for my company? And I've seen that really help businesses over the years as they've started to implement some of these services that are available for them.
I completely agree. Those conversations are so beneficial for all parties to make sure that we are showing value and adding a solution that's going to make their business more successful.
Absolutely. So Zach, what products and tools are out there for businesses?
Sure, John. So actually at NBAZ, we have a distinct set of tools for our small business clients. It is designed for that small business segmentation. And really the primary goal goes back to your point of having that conversation. We want to determine through dialogue what's going to add the most value to our small business clients. And from there, we want to make sure, are we alleviating the challenges that are presented to them? What pain points do they have? That's what we want to uncover in that conversation. And I think the best way to talk about it is what we talked about right at the beginning in regards to cash flow. So when you talk about money in, how are our customers being paid? Is it as simple as they're only accepting checks potentially? Well, have they ever considered taking credit cards and merchant service acceptance? And if they have, has it always been via point of sale machine? But now in this unique world that we're all in today, should they think of virtual acceptance of credit cards and have something added to their website to take on a payment? So I think that's some really strong dialogue we could have with a client. Talk about, boy, think of that accessibility of funds if you were taking credit cards in a multitude of ways and being able to control that streamline of cash coming into your account. In addition, and again, ties dramatically into the world that we're in, do they leverage a remote deposit scanner for those checks that they do receive? It's not easy to get to a branch today, right? There's parameters in place. We want to make sure we're social distancing. So having a scanner in their office, or potentially even if they're home, if they're running the business out of the home right now, allows them to make the deposit of those items and have that cash more accessible in their accounts and collect in a much more streamlined fashion as well.
Yeah. Yeah. When I think about all these various options that are out there for small businesses, sometimes I equate it to myself going to a restaurant that has a huge menu of items to choose from. And you think, well, I have all these items to choose from. What should I choose from? It might take you a while. I think similar for businesses, sometimes they might say, well, here are all these products and services to say, wow, that is a bunch that I can have, but is that going to be overwhelming? How can I manage that? Is there some simple way for me to navigate through this? And so my question to you is for the small business owners, can they make it manageable where they don't feel overwhelmed by all these different products and services?
That's a really good point, John. And I really like your analogy because it can be overwhelming. We're throwing out acronyms at them and all these terms that maybe business owners haven't leveraged before, right? It's bank terminology. But if we kind of keep it in that simplistic form of the money in and money out, and how could it, as we talk about their business needs, make sure it's adding value, I think that's where we can get into the weeds, if you will, which is where we want to dive and show that value that it may have. So now kind of flipping it to the money out aspect. How are our clients paying their vendors? Do they have unique ways that they're doing that? Are they simply cutting a check and waiting it for it to clear and not being able to manage their books accordingly? So we have tools, so ACH, so there I am throwing an acronym out at you, right? But in regards to the electronic movement of funds, it's a great way to leverage ACH as a function to do direct deposit for your employees. It may not be simple to cut them a payroll check right now in the environment that we're in. And with direct deposit, you get to determine the date that they're paid. You know it's going to come out of your checking account at that time, and you're establishing all that up front and have complete control over it. Another option, if you need to move funds electronically, is to send wires. We have this all available on our online banking tool where our clients can send wires without having to talk to any of us at the bank and kind of take out the middleman or middlewoman in the process. So it's almost, what do their vendors accept? Are our business clients having that dialogue with their vendors? Maybe they're able to leverage a business credit card or a commercial card, and they can use that. So there's two benefits with that, right? They're extending their payables by putting it onto a credit card platform and still being able to manage and control that cash flow to their benefit and having more control over it as well.
Yeah, I like the fact that there are a few specific products that we could look at to quickly identify what could help a customer. Going back to my thought on a restaurant, I think about if I have a good server, I could say, hey, what do you recommend here? And they can give me some recommendations, and it makes my life a lot easier. And I think that's very similar to a business to be able to talk to a banker, either in person or virtually or whatever that is, to just walk through these. Because sometimes when they just see all the services out there and read about them and hear about them, it might not be as easily to understand than having that connection with a banker. And I think that's one of the great things that as bankers at National Bank of Arizona can provide, is that opportunity to talk through it with customers and get them comfortable with those services.
I completely agree. I mean, sometimes we have that dialogue with a client, right? And talk about find those challenges, find the pain points. Some clients may choose to wait for their statement to come monthly to reconcile their books. But are they missing something from that day-to-day reconciliation, even weekly reconciliation? That's where online banking come into play. Simple as logging in, checking the transactions that were hitting the account. I mentioned fraud earlier. So fraud prevention is fraud, unfortunately, is very prevalent in the society today. We're seeing even more in this unique work from home environment that we're all in, where there's fraudsters trying to manipulate business clients, unfortunately, today. And how, as a bank, can we help that? Well, let's talk about those scenarios that could be presented to them so they can share that with their employees, make sure that they're protecting themselves. And we have some tools that help with that as well. So we have what's called Positive Pay. Our clients would present to us all the checks that they're writing, and we make sure that's how they clear. So if they told us check 100 is for $1,000, it's presented to the bank for $5,000, it sounds like that check's been manipulated. We're going to share that with our client before it clears their account and let them decision. Should we pay that? Should we return that item? We can do the same thing facet in regards to ACH, so that electronic movement of funds, and make sure debits aren't hitting their account that are fraudulent. Again, that goes back to that day-to-day management of the account. So important, rather than waiting for maybe that monthly reconciliation when something could have happened 3 weeks prior that no one was aware of. And online banking's got all those tools to customize reports, have it be at the fingertips of our clients, almost, again, taking out that middleman of having to worry about even talking to their banker in those scenarios and letting them control it and then leverage us when they need to as their advisors.
Yeah, that's great. I know fraud is definitely something that's happening more and more every day, and something for us to definitely be aware of.
Unfortunately, it is.
Yeah. One of the things that I've always found interesting is we use this term treasury management. And so he's here, treasury management. People might start thinking of the Department of Treasury, or what is this? And with you being a manager of treasury management, maybe you can give us a little idea what the term treasury management means.
Sure, I'd be happy to. It's funny. My daughter, when she was younger, she thought that our team got to go deal literally with treasure maps, right? And go look for buried treasure. So you're right. We confuse everybody with the terminology of our line of business. But I think in its simplest form, we are a trusted advisor for our business clients. So we work with the relationship managers at the bank and with our business clients to try to solve those challenges and pain points that they have, and hopefully provide a solution that helps them streamline their business, allows them to focus on what they want to focus on, and we're making the banking part simpler for them and helping protect their accounts. That's such an important piece of that aspect. So you got the money in, you have the money out of the cash flow, but how can we help them manage the overall aspect of the accounts as well and give them the visibility that they need and the tools and solutions they need to make everything more effective and make them a more successful business in the future as well.
Very good. So you're helping them being streamlined and also protecting at the same time with the security levels.
That is certainly our goal.
That's very important. And so with all this being said, and with that, how do all these things help somebody's business? What's the main thing in your mind, how this would help a business by using treasury management products?
Sure. Again, that end goal. Let's hope these solutions that we're offering to them are adding value to where the banking becomes not an afterthought. You never want it to be an afterthought, but simpler, and allowing them to be able to manage that cash flow. I'll keep using that term, that money in and money out, and having complete control over it. So they know when money's going to be leaving the account and they control it, rather than that being an unknown and not being able to factor in their balances appropriately. Money in, hopefully giving them solutions to get that money faster into the account so they can leverage it to make their business more successful. And end of day, as we all know, we want our business partners to grow. We want those business clients to achieve that end goal that they have and go after what they want as a business. They don't want to focus on banking all day long, right? They didn't open their business to worry about the books and see, oh, did I do my direct deposit of payroll? Did I clear this check? They want to focus on what's making them passionate about their business. Let us do that upfront, easy part for them to make the banking part easier.
Thank you, Zach. I think that's very, very good point. Just making the lives easier for small businesses. Thanks again so much for joining us today. Remember to check out more episodes from your favorite podcasting platform or watch us on YouTube. If you have any financial questions, please leave a comment. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.